Welcome to the Indie Corner, where we talk about all things independent comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Demoan.
And today people are back at it again with another impromptu one and done podcast that we wanted to do. We've been wanting to do this book for ever since we talked about doing the Indie Corner with Invincible. We've been wanting to do this book for a long time. And
I've been waiting so long.
I know, because I've always wanted to read it, but we've never had a chance to actually do it on a podcast. And obviously because of the people are looking at the thumbnail, what we're reading today, boy?
Ooh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Bruh, gotta play that music. Gotta play that classic theme. TMNT. Teenage Mutant Ninjas. Yes, people, we are finally going to cover the critically acclaimed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series from 2011, published by IDW Comics, written by Tom Waltz and the legendary co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman, and it's drawn by Dan Duncan. So I'm really excited. This book has been around for it's still going. I think, believe it or not, right? It's still going.
They're coming out with at the very least, they're still updating the hardcover trades.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that at the very least.
Yeah, it's basically been out for the past 10 years, which is insane. And it's obviously the first volumes, which Demoan, you clearly own, are pretty critically acclaimed. Everyone always says this is one of the best runs of the Turtles in comics. So yeah, I'm excited. Demoan's excited. We're obviously fans. I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. Demoan is the biggest Ninja Turtles fan I know. But to start off though, Demoan, we got so favorite Ninja Turtles movie. We'll say favorite Ninja Turtles movie, favorite version of the series, and then favorite game.
Okay.
Right.
Favorite movie. It's either between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, because I really love the Ninja Rap as a song, or the 2011 animated movie.
Okay.
Where Leonardo started off in the middle of the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah.
I really like that. Favorite show. My favorite show was definitely the first 2007 one.
I think it was just that one was 2003 actually.
2003, then 2003 one.
Okay.
And I liked it until they went to the future. Because
you didn't like Fast Forward?
It was okay, but I very much liked the other one, the original one, better.
Okay, fair enough.
I actually have a guilty pleasure of, was it 2012 when they came out with the Nickelodeon series?
Yeah.
I don't remember what year they came out with that, but I really like that version of the show too.
Okay.
And my favorite game is definitely Battle Nexus 2. That was the most I was into.
All right. Well, also my favorite movie. It's tied between the first one as well as the TMNT 2007 animated movie, because that movie I think is literally perfect. In my opinion, I just thought it was dope. The animation was great. The voice acting was great. I like how they try to do something that didn't really involve the Foot Clan, because that's been done over and over and over again, and so that I thought was great. My favorite show probably has to be the 2003, because that's what I grew up on. But I also really do love the 2012 one. I like that one a lot, actually. From Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
that one was dope. And my favorite game, it's kind of a hot take, because obviously I'm the unpopular opinion of the club. But TMNT Out of the Shadows I think is a pretty poor execution, but I think it was a lot of fun, just because I've always wanted to play an RPG third-person action in Turtles game, and that's what that game was. So I thought it was fun. The combos were great. The character designs were great. I thought that was cool, even though it did lean towards the 2012 one because again it was a Nickelodeon type game. So
right.
But yeah, so that. Those are my three. Put in the comments what is your favorite Ninja Turtles TV show, movie, and video game if you have one. But yeah, Demoan. So we'll just get right into it with this comic. So we'll be discussing Volume 1, which is called Changes Constant. That's issues 1 through 4, and we're also going to talk about Volume 5, issue 5 as well, because it ties into like this pretty cool twist on their origin, and it's kind of like a Christmas type special as well because it came out around December. So of 2011. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So Demoan, you got issue 1.
Yes. So issue 1, we're starting off with the cover.
Cover's cool. I think it's like I couldn't put all of them there, but like each.
No, I get that because I'm not gonna lie. The cover I have in my book is different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
Let me put you on full screen real quick, Demoan. Give me a second. There we go.
I don't know how well you guys can see it, and I'm sorry. I don't know why there's the glare in my camera thing, but it's just the 4 turtles. They're just.
You got the variant. That's the variant. That's the variant of it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
the thing though.
Yeah, but if you see like with these covers, they actually released 4 covers, all drawn by Dan Duncan, and it had each turtle on it. So like, you got to get obviously like Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Leonardo. I'm biased because Michelangelo is my favorite turtle, so that's why I put this one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yes.
But great covers. All of them are great. And
I mean, Donatello's there.
Donatello's there, but like, and the one you showed off is the variant with Kevin Eastman who drew it. Mm-hmm. All right.
But no, we start off this issue. God, and I can't tell you how much I really love the Ninja Turtles as a property.
Yeah.
Just because it was something I was raised on. So the fact that we're doing this is really good.
Yeah, word.
But no, I'm serious. Like getting into it. We start off, the turtles are having this confrontation in the junkyard with this cat man his name is Old Hobbs.
Yeah.
Now, Old Hobbs is this man mutant tabby cat with an eye patch. You can assume a missing eye.
And he's a new character basically in their Turtles universe that's created for the comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him in anything outside of this comic.
Nope, I've not seen him in anything besides this.
But no, so Splinter's there with the turtles. It's important to note that at this point, the turtles all have the same red mask,
which I love. Okay, because it's a nod to the original comics.
Yep,
they all were red,
black and white, so they all look the same.
Yeah.
So that was that. I really like that, and they give a reason for that story-wise later. Yeah. I think is also really fun. But basically they're goading each other. They're having this conversation. Old Hobbs does not like Splinter and these turtles. But Splinter has this running dialogue or monologue, like internal monologue throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's like describing the scene. And he's talking about how there's just calm and all of a sudden lightning strikes. And this is the fight scene that we're looking at right now. As the turtles come together to fight a gang of thugs and a cat man.
It's so Ninja Turtles, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Ninja Turtles. It's just, I just love them. But the fight scene goes on. We watch as Splinter and his sons expertly dispatch this gang of thugs. And all the while, Splinter's like talking about his sons. He's talking about how his Donatello is coldly analytical and deliberate. Leonardo is militarily disciplined and precise, and Michelangelo is absurdly unorthodox and carefree, and like this leads them all to have a different fighting style.
Yeah,
and that's what kind of keeps the other side off their toes. But Old Hobbs' fighting style was wretchedly misguided and vengeful, and obviously our boy Splinter is so much experience as a warrior. And
because Old Hobbs isn't like a martial artist, he's just like a street brawler.
Yeah, he's just a cat that learned to fight like a man when he turned into a man. I think he should have stayed a cat, but I don't think he had much say in it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they're going on. At first, this fight was for survival, but like it's a grudge match at this point. And they keep fighting and they keep fighting. And eventually, the Turtles beat Old Hobbs and his men. And Old Hobbs, like the coward he is, flees. And as the Turtles are about to give chase, our boy Splinter tells them, just let him be. We have to focus on finding your brother. Because in case you didn't notice, and something I didn't mention right away, there were only 3 turtles there.
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Right now, to them, Raphael is missing. He's in the wind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was really interesting. I was like, okay, that's... And the way they explained it, too, later on, like, how that actually like ties into Raph's character, I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because it gives him, like, a bunch of weird... Because the way the story works, it gives him, like... Well, we'll get to it when we get there.
Yeah.
But anyway... But after they say that Raph's in an uncertain place, they zoom in on Raph, and he's just walking real sad throughout the city. I appreciate that he has a trench coat and a sweatshirt, but no pants.
Is that? I thought of this. Is this kind of like the nod to like when like Raph used to go outside, he would wear like a trench coat and like a hat.
Yeah, that's what the trench coat, at least that's what I assumed. Mm-hmm. Sweatshirt, I guess, just gives it a more modern look. Also, more anonymous because covers more. But anyway, we see that Raph, and then we go to a flashback 18 months earlier. We see this red-haired woman talking to a bearded scientist named Chet. And she's looking at these 4 turtles right now. She's like, oh, they're adorable. But she's going to work here as an intern. And all of a sudden, she looks away and she looks back and she sees a rat on top of the case. And she's terrified, but Chet stops her and explains that this rat is harmless and he's part of another experiment. And as he explains this to her, he's like, well, anyway, let's go to Human Resources and get everything you need. Sorry. So... And after she does that, she says, welcome to StockGen Research, Miss O'Neill. And we find out that this girl is April O'Neil. April O'Neil. I don't know why you would, but it's April O'Neil, so we're not even going to get into the hypothetical whether it's not.
Yeah.
But anyway, as we see, we back out and we see that Dr. Stockman, is watching them walk through the lab. And he gets a call from General Crane. Now, if you're a fan of the Turtles, there's a lot of names in the last few sentences that really like spiked your interest because Krang was a huge villain in the 1986 series.
Yeah, in the 80s cartoon. Yeah,
the 80s cartoon. Mm-hmm. He was the belly man.
Yeah, Krang was like the alien. It's kind of weird because like in the 80s cartoon, it was just like the one, like that one alien was just referred to as Krang. But then I remember in the 2012
race
show, it was an entire race called the Krang. So I don't know. Obviously, we didn't read this like far into like when we know about who General Krang is in this series, but like we don't really know if it's like just the one Krang or if it's like an entire race. We don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah. At this point, we don't know. In fact, technically, at this point, we don't technically know it's our Krang. But
yeah.
We also know Dr. Stockman. Now I don't think he was in the 80s cartoon, right?
No, he was not. I knew Dr. Stockman in the 2003 one
cartoon, and then he was also in the 2012 one.
And he was also in the comics.
Yes, he was in the comics, and he's obviously the scientist who's responsible for the Mousers.
Yeah, the Mousers. Yeah,
classic Ninja Turtles enemy.
Yeah.
But anyway, it seems they're working together. It seems that General Krang has hired out Dr. Stockman's lab to work on a bunch of different projects he has going on. There's exo armor, a special mutagen, special regeneration, animal regeneration, which is what they're working on with the Turtles. That's why the Turtles are there. They're part of a regeneration program.
Yeah.
And of course, that one gets April asking questions, which I forgot to mention. Chet shut down all of April's questions she had.
Yeah.
Extra research that didn't pertain to her. Then we flash forward another 3 months. And one thing you notice as you look throughout this, they like to just occasionally put pictures of Splinter looking at you, just a whole panel.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I really like that because Splinter's a cute rat.
Splinter is a cute rat.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, they go back to 3 months later. 3 months after the 18 months, so 15 months previous to modern day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, April's been working there for a while, and they're talking about how she loves the turtles, and they eventually get talking, and they tell her that Splinter is the name of the rat because it has to do with the research they're doing with him. They're trying to get him.
It's like psychotropic drugs.
Yeah, it's a psychotropic drug test. They're trying to, and I'm going to read this verbatim because I don't want to get the words wrong.
Yeah.
They're basically separating out a capacity for human-like cognition from instinctual animal state, in theory at least. So I guess what they're trying to do is make a sentient rat.
Yeah, to like separate like his intelligence with like his animal nature.
Mm-hmm. I guess it worked.
It works.
Good job. You can't say they failed.
Yeah, because like when you mentioned before with the panels with just with Splinter just looking at you, looking around, mm-hmm. It's just like it just him show like he's obviously like he's observing everything and is a lot more intelligent than he appears to be. So mm-hmm. That's what I just want to.
Yeah, yeah. The humans definitely don't give Splinter the credit he deserves for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that scene continues, and we find out exactly what April named these turtles. So, of course, there's the quiet one standing still. That's Leonardo. There's the one studying a bug. That's Donatello. There's the one who's eating right now. That's Mikey. And the feisty one in the corner, that's Raphael. After she says that's Raphael, we switch to present day. And we see that Raphael is digging through dumpsters trying to get food.
Listen, you gotta do what you gotta do.
No, listen, he's gotta survive. I understand. But anyway, he's going through the neighborhood, and what I think is really funny is he finds a shirt in the garbage that says "COWUBUNGA" on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love. I just like the concept. I just like the concept that he thought it was a shame, and then continued to throw the shirt out himself.
Word. No, I think it's fun. I think it's a fun nod.
It's a good shirt. But anyway, after he throws the shirt, he hears a scream, and he looks through the window and he sees this man beating up this kid. And as he's beating it up, and he says this kid is Casey.
Mm-hmm.
And another buzzword for any Ninja Turtle fans.
Yeah, you'll know who this character is, and we'll reveal it next issue who this character is.
But anyway, this guy is beating the shit out of Casey for some reason. It's his dad. He hates that his son was born, and of course, our boy Raphael can't let this slide. So he breaks in the door and he puts his knuckles up.
He literally just barges in, just like, I'm gonna beat your ass now.
Right? He's a turtle man. I feel like he should be more concerned.
I can't.
Like, I feel like everyone who's met him so far has been screaming at him.
Yeah.
And that's why he has to go through dumpsters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can literally put the fear of God in these people. Like,
right?
Calm down.
But anyway, what do you think of this issue, the first issue?
I think it's great. I like again, like, because you find out the whole series that, like, they're, it's the same old Turtles, but like they're trying to do something different with, like, the origin. I like how, again, like, it's the nod to like the original Mirage comics, like original like Ninja Turtles comic with Eastman and Laird, where they're all wearing the red bandanas. I think it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
the idea with Splinter like being a hyper intelligent rat, I think makes a lot of. I think it makes sense. I mean,
it's my favorite game to play for Ninja Turtles is the origin of Splinter.
yeah, because in like the other media and stuff like that, they don't really explain how like why he doesn't really have his animal instincts that much. Like he has them like under control pretty well.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. And it just Raph being alone, I think was it's a very interesting it's a very interesting concept. I think they do a really good job playing to like why he's angry all the time and why he has a temper, which I think is.
They also chose exactly the right person with Raph to like oh, he's the missing one, because I don't think that would have worked if this was Leonardo.
It wouldn't have worked if it was any of them besides Raph, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if Donatello was missing, I mean, that would be for the better. But like, But
then they lose all the gadgets, Mikey.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so far I think this issue is great, and also Dan Duncan's art. I think when he draws the turtles and Splinter, I think it's really good. And also like sometimes when he draws people, it's good. But like there's some parts where like faces just don't look right.
I get that. There's a couple points of that in the fight in the beginning.
Exactly. But like, yeah, other than that, I think like his artwork with the turtles and Splinter are so good.
No, because I especially love this last picture. With Raph raising his fist. Like this looks so cool.
Exactly. It looks so cool. And like and also like how like he doesn't even have his mask. He's just like he doesn't have his mask at all, and he doesn't even have like his size and stuff. He's just wearing a trench coat and a hoodie, and he still looks dope.
Yeah, no belt, no nothing. He's just here.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, so far this book is a very good like intro and like grabber, because they make a lot of interesting creative choices. The point where like and there's like a mystery behind like why the turtles are the turtles, and like why Raph is the way he is, like why he's alone and all that stuff. I think it's really cool.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say about issue 1.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else I could add besides like I also like the direction they went with the origin this time.
Yeah.
Also appreciate how they're very quickly bring together two like big villains.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're establishing a villain base very early.
They are.
They're not just being like, hey, this is a villain, then we're moving on to the next villain, and this villain's going to do stuff in between occasionally, and then just a process of slowly introducing villains.
Yeah.
But the Turtles has a lot of history. Like the faster you introduce villains, I think the more interesting story plots you can make.
Exactly.
They're smart doing this.
For sure. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So yes, so far great start.
Yeah, absolutely. So ready for the second issue?
Yeah. So issue number dos. Great cover. I love this cover so much.
I love this cover too. This is actually the same one I have in my in the book this time.
Yeah, this is also Dan Duncan. And also I love how they went back. I forgot to mention this when we saw the first one. I love how they went back to the original comic book logo. I like that logo a lot.
It's such a classic feeling logo. It
is. This is because like I feel like it's gonna grab in old readers who, I mean, I doubt there's anyone who actually like was there when who there are not a lot of fans who actually like was there when the original comic came out, but like if you've done your research and stuff like that, like
right. No, yeah.
But yeah, dope. I love this cover so much. It's so good.
It's good.
All right.
All of them. It's so good. But we're moving on. Anyway, we come in. Raph is in fighting stance. He comes in. He's looking at these two human people, and they're looking at him. And I don't know why, but this dad immediately just throws his son off, and then when his son tries to stop him, hits his son.
Yeah,
and then he has to fight this turtle man. I'd be terrified if a turtle man showed up in my house,
dude.
Like the first thing I'm doing is running away.
He's showing no fear, and you're just like, okay.
No,
this man got some balls.
No, he is a brave man. Casey says he's drunk. I have to assume he just assumes this is a hallucination.
Yeah,
but this is ridiculous. There's no way I could fight this man with Raphael with a straight face. Even if it could fight Raphael in general, which no shot I can beat him.
No.
But anyway, they start beating up on each other. Raphael's like, "Here, take some of your own medicine." And of course, they're fighting. Now, Raphael's not used to fighting right now. This guy is very used to fighting. He's an ex-hockey player.
Yeah.
He gets Raph on his knees, and he goes for the elbow right to the back, which for a normal human, great move.
Great move.
but
for Raph.
So of course his elbow goes thunk.
His elbow, like, he recovers pretty quickly, but his elbow should be freaking dust.
No, he has to be feeling nothing because he's that drunk. Because he slammed into that thing with his his elbow.
He took an elbow. He took a shell to the elbow, bro. Like, that's nuts.
He did it full strength, and in the next panel, he's just like, "Damn, my elbow hurts."
He's drunk.
He's drunk, and that's the only excuse. And of course, Raphael takes this chance to beat the guy's ass and literally throw him out of his own house.
Yep.
To which he replies with, "Fuck, screw this, I'm leaving."
Fuck this. It would be funny if that was the case.
Yeah, and then he drunk drives away. Of course, Casey just tells him, "Let it be." And Case again, they're taking this way too well. Just seeing Raph, because they're not really questioning it. Casey's just like, "Yeah, you helped me. You're good in my book, but like you do look weird." So, you know, the only question he had for him right off the bat was, "Where did you come from?" Not "What are you?" Not a scream or any kind of panic. But no, just wanted to know where he came from.
Also, like, I just want to real quick, I like this fight a lot because, like, granted, like, Raph doesn't know, like, he's not, because, you know, he's been separated from all the other turtles, so, like, he doesn't really know any, like, the martial arts, but, like, he can tell that he's like a natural, like, inclination for fighting, and which we'll tie into later. So I just want to point that out.
No, yeah, exactly, because Raph is just it doesn't have anything to do with this book, but in one of the series or comics, I think Splinter said Raphael had the most talent for fighting. Like, he was objectively just the best fighter.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm pretty sure that's been said in multiple series, but
I feel like it has.
I can't name the specific ones right now off the top of my head. But anyway, he asks where Raph is from, and we flash back again to 15 months earlier. And of course, we see that Raphael, our boy Splinter, is trying to hand April this CD. Sorry, one sec. Something in my throat.
Nah, dude, you got it.
Sorry. So Splinter tries to hand April this CD, and she's just there working late at night, studying for classes and stuff. And she gets handed this CD, and she's like looking at it like, a rat gave this to me. This is funny. Where did a rat get this? But then we go to the next page, and we see that there are people sneaking into this building. And look, they're ninjas. Now again, any kind of ninja for a Ninja Turtle, you know exactly what these are right away. They're also in classic foot attire, just in general. So these are foot ninja breaking into this lab for some reason. And again, this goes back to the last issue. They're like introducing a lot of antagonists early, and then the antagonists will play off of each other more as we go on, which I think is always very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of times they're at odds with each other. Other times they work with each other, though. But anyway, they break into this lab, and April finally gets a look at this CD or I guess DVD, this disc. This disc that Splinter gave her, and she sees that like it's a bunch of weird experiments. It seems like.
Yeah, it says like confidential propriety. It just says a lot of shit on it, like Terrapin, human exo armor synthesis,
Mhm.
military application. Like it's just a bunch of like experiment stuff.
Mhm. But anyway, April's like, oh gosh, this rat, I'm seeing things. This rat's crazy. But she pulls the disc out of the sleeve, and in the reflection, she sees two ninjas behind her. At first, she thinks it's a. I don't know who has ninjas break in and people point swords at you, and then look at them and say, haha, is this some kind of joke, guys?
Because like they're ninjas. Like no one really like thinks like ninjas are walking around in New York.
I mean, I guess that's fair. I guess if two ninjas showed up, it wouldn't be
Crazy shit happens in New York, but like
ninjas still isn't.
ninjas, come on now.
You're right. But anyway, these ninjas give April the runaround. They're trying to steal a bunch of stuff, but luckily our boy Splinter saves the day. He runs and pulls the fire alarm, which distracts the ninjas long enough for April to hit one of them with a beaker.
Yeah, gets them real good.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, April has a chance to run away. And as she's running away, she finds the police. And so, lucky for her, the police make it so that the ninjas can't follow her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she's worried about Splinter now because Splinter saved her. However, she needs not worry about Splinter because Splinter is chasing after these ninjas to save his sons. He gets one in the eye, right in the left eye with a step. And the ninja doesn't like that, so he takes Splinter and throws him overboard over the rooftop, and Splinter lands on the ground into the bag of ooze stolen with the turtles. And now these turtles and Splinter are all covered in ooze. A green mystery ooze, nonetheless. And this is actually where we first see Hobbs. The cat that will become Old Hob.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he has a turtle in his mouth. And I'm going to give you a little spoiler, guys. That turtle is Raphael.
Yeah. It's clearly.
Very clearly. But anyway, after that, we flash back to the present day. And in this conversation, and we flash back right to the turtle's lair. And we're having a discussion about how, hey, are we really doing the best thing by looking for Raphael right now? We don't even know he's alive. Of course, Splinter insists he's alive. Now, Donnie, always the coldly analytical person he is kind of a dick about it, to be honest. And he's just like, wow, the odds of us finding like a person in New York, and I think Donatello's not considering that they are turtle people, which makes it significantly easier to find somebody.
Word.
And he's like, the odds of finding someone in New York are just so small. But of course, Splinter's like, there are things at work here bigger than all of us, and those things are underestimated. We'll find Raphael. Don't worry. But anyway, they have their conversation, and they talk, and it's like, hey, just trust me. We don't want a war. We just want to find your brother. We don't want to go after Hobbs. We just want our family back together. And he's just talking about that, and then he sends his sons out.
Yeah, I mean, I just want I don't know if I think it's in this conversation. Well, like I find it very interesting where like he basically says we're right now it's just me, it's just the three of us, and then myself. Like we're not whole. We can't function as a unit if we don't have everyone together. So that's why he's so adamant on fighting Raphael. So
yeah, because he says they're just as lost as Raphael without him.
Exactly, which I think is nice.
Yeah, no, it's very, especially coming from such a caring father.
Exactly.
I would love to have Splinter as a dad.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
And I think this comic does a great job of being like, no, Splinter's not only their sensei, but he's also their dad.
And honestly, he pulls a lot of dad moves because there's like multiple times where he's like, hey, they ask him a question, he's like, hey, just trust me. You don't need to know. Like, it doesn't need to be that complicated. Just trust me. And I would be I understand Donatello at that regard because I would be infuriated not getting an explanation.
Exactly. True.
However, Donatello is kind of a dick about finding Raphael. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see that more later on, but right now we're gonna get back to our boys Casey and Raphael. Casey and Raphael have their little heart to heart. Casey tells his little backstory about his dad and his mom who's died, and how he promised to take care of his father, but his dad became an asshole after his mom got sick, and it just kind of started beating him. And he just kind of respects his mom's wishes by not going after him, which I think is good. If he's getting beat by the man, I don't think he has any obligation to be extra nice to him. But anyway, he says he goes into another room and he's like, "Hey, we might not be able to kick my dad's ass anymore, but we can go have our own fun." And he comes out in a Casey Jones classic, old school hockey goalie mask, 2 baseball bats.
Dude,
you gotta look.
Our boy Arnold Casey Jones, aka Casey Jones, Casey fucking Jones.
Casey, God, I love
Casey Jones is my I love Michelangelo's my favorite turtle. Casey Jones is like my favorite character because he's just a dude. I just like characters who are just dudes who have nothing special about them.
No, I get that though. And Casey Jones is the epitome of just a dude.
I love Casey Jones, bro. I'm also happy that they're like not only setting up April, but like they're also setting up like Casey early and tying that with Raph, because again, a nod to like the original comic when they first where Raph and Casey first met in the comics. So yeah, I love this. I love this.
It's just so good. But anyway, we end that issue with Casey Jones inviting Raphael to go kick some thug butt.
Yeah, kick some ass and take names.
God. Yeah. So what did you think of this issue though as well?
I love it.
This comic ramps up so fast.
It does. It's very fast. It's very like fast paced, and it does a good job of like it's fast paced, but also has like really good pacing, and like gives you just amount of like the good amount of information you need to like understand the story. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff. I mean, again, fleshing more like just like I love the Casey Raph interactions. Like who doesn't love that? Who doesn't like that?
It's just one of the best bromances in media.
Honestly, honestly is. And again, like the ninjas coming in again, teasing that mystery of like why are the ninjas after like the muted, like the ooze and the turtles, and like how like what's their end game, because like we don't actually know until I don't think we cover any of that in this volume or in issue 5, but it's like a teasing mystery for the next volume, which I think is really interesting. So it's like a dangling, like it's a subplot that will be answered later, which I think is really cool. I also again I like how they're showcasing that like not all of the turtles agree with trying to get Raphael back, because they can be utilizing their skills elsewhere,
which I think is a fair complaint for them.
Fair, yeah.
However, Master Splinter ends up being right, so like you can't really blame him.
Exactly. So, but again, I also do like they're like a reminder that like he's not just their sensei, like he's also like their dad, and like he legitimately cares for his sons. Like that's one of my things with like I mean, especially like in the 2003 cartoon, like he was more of a sensei than like a dad, in my opinion, in that cartoon. And even they refer to him as dad, which you don't really see a lot. And only time I ever saw it in Ninja Turtles anything was like the new movies, like the Michael Bay produced ones. They actually directly call him like dad or father. So, yeah, I like this, and again,
I agree with that. He did feel a lot more like a sensei at that point.
Yeah, and like again, Casey Jones, bro. Have you ever watched like the Casey Jones like fan film that dropped like years ago?
No.
Okay, when this video uploads, I'll put a end card at this exact moment with the link to the fan film if it's still up, because it's really good. I love it a lot. Yeah, I'm good. This issue is great. all of my points have been said.
No, yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, but do you have any other thoughts before we move on to 3?
No, I do not.
Yeah. Okay, dope. So, issue number 3 of TMNT, another great cover, dude. Dan Duncan, I'm surprised Dan Duncan didn't pull a Ryan Otley and just draw the rest of this entire series because like
Right?
his art just works with the turtles. I don't it's like his style is like really good.
It just looks so good with.
It's just so good. I think he only lasts. I think when I looked up, like I think he only does up to issues 25, and then he leaves. Yeah, this cover is also really dope. Just all 4 turtles, just and Splinter just chilling.
Whenever you get all 4 turtles, it's always a good cover.
Exactly. Again, all in red.
All in red.
Yeah. Do you like? Would do you actually? Here's the question: do you prefer, just real quick before we start? Do you prefer them with their individual colors, or do you like them all red?
I prefer them with their individual colors. However, I really love that this series has them in all red for a short while.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that is one of my favorite things, and I think they started the series really great, having them all start in red.
Yeah.
But I also think they made the right move eventually moving to different color mats. Like
yeah, for sure.
Because like a part of it is like, especially if they start switching, like there's almost always a plot where they have to switch weapons.
Yeah.
Which gets so confusing.
I mean, they try their best, especially like with these first, like, with these issues, like they try their best to like just dissociate which one might, not only with their weapons, but with like their skin tone.
They're all different hues of green.
But even then, like you kind of need the mask to like separate.
Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah.
But no, I absolutely love that they're all in the same color mask right now. I won't lie about that.
For sure. All right, but yeah, great cover. So to start off, we get this scene in the alleyway where this goon gets thrown and gets pushed around because he stole someone's purse, and basically these mysterious figures basically like you gotta return that purse back, or we're gonna smack you around, and we get this dope splash of just freaking Raph and just Casey with a badger ready to beat the shit out of this dude. I love it so much.
It's just such a good. Raph and Casey working together to kick someone's ass is always one of my favorite things.
Exactly. And obviously when you see a turtle man and a guy with a hockey mask and a bat, you're just terrified. So this man's just pleading with his life, and he throws him the bag, and he runs off. And he's like, Raph's like, what now? And he's just like, oh yeah, we got to return it to the rightful owner because she's gonna love that. She think we're heroes. And so they hand the purse to this old lady, and obviously because with a natural reaction, seeing a turtle man,
this is the right reaction for a normal person.
Yeah, she just freaks the hell out and is like, like, don't hurt me, get away from me, just runs for it and just yells help. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, and Raph's is like, yeah, like like typical reaction. And then like I find this very interesting where they're walking through this alley, and like like they're going around to get some food after they took a goon down. And then Raph poses the question that why looks like you could have taken your dad like so easily. Why did you not why did you just let me do it for you? And he basically explains the whole backstory where Demoan mentioned it briefly about his mother passed away a year and a half ago from cancer, and his dad she was sick for a long time, and his dad while she was sick couldn't handle obviously her dying and medical expenses and all that stuff, so he started drinking and he became an alcoholic. And she still loved him, which Casey still found kind of off, why, when he's literally a scumbag and just drinks every night. And and one of his last on her deathbed, she basically made Casey promise to always look out for your dad, even though he's in a rough place, obviously, always look out for him. And therefore that's why he never fought back, because he's basically keeping to his promise to his mom, which I think is very sweet and very touching. But and basically like he was basically taking his punches. I don't really know if if it was mentioned here. Did he mention why like he wasn't afraid of Raph when they met? I don't think it wasn't here, but I don't know if you mentioned it last issue.
I don't think I specifically mentioned it.
Yeah, well, I'll just say just briefly, real quick, that like the reason why he doesn't like he isn't afraid of Raph because like his dad like his dad is like was a straight up monster to him, and his dad is what he's actually afraid of, not Raph. So that was a really cool thing to add. And he always, and then Raph asked me, why the hockey mask? And it's like, oh yeah, like I was a big time jock at high school, and I like played a lot. I played a lot of like high school hockey in high school, which led me to a scholarship with, and I think it's called like NY, like New York Tech, and that's what the school's called.
Yes, that's it.
And he got like a full ride. He got a full ride scholarship, and they actually like pay him money so that like they actually pay him money as well being an athlete. So that's how like they pay rent and food because his dad doesn't do anything. So but he said like people who know Casey Jones like brains aren't he's not really that smart. So like his grades are kind of slipping. So like if he's on academic probation right now, and if he ends up he doesn't get his grades up, he could end up flunking out of college and lose his scholarship. So there's that. And so there's another goon. And he's like, we should probably like get rid of this purse, like unless you want to keep it, like it's all good. And then they kind of like start having fun, like, oh no, it would look better on you if you grabbed it. And then they get noticed by these guys that say, come on, that's following them. So it transitions back to a training session between Donnie, Leo, and Mikey. And Leo, like it's like Donnie is taking on Mikey, and like he gets upper hand on Mikey, and then celebrates a little bit. And then but then Mikey gets the upper hand and like knocks him on his ass, and Splinter is doing his master thing, his sensei thing. It's like you shouldn't be celebrating early, man, because if you celebrate early, you might have the upper hand. Someone's gonna get the upper hand on you, you might get distracted. And then he apologizes. He's like, listen, don't apologize. As long as you can understand and learn from your mistakes, everything is gonna be fine. And and I like how Mikey just like like master like here's the thing, like like speaking to enemies, like when are we gonna have to like deal with old Hob again, like instead of like just training. And Mike and then like Donnie is just like like you train, like I think it's Donnie and Leo, like you train to Mike, you eat and absorb comic books as much as for the same amount of time as you train, you're fine. And the thing is like Splinter's just like, yeah, like old Hob, but at the same time, like like even though he's our enemy, like is like he's our enemy, and that's enough for you to understand. And but like old Hob has his reason why he's coming after us, and then it transitions to like a flashback of like
that for Splinter shit where he doesn't explain anything.
Exactly, like he doesn't explain anything, but like we have to know what's going on.
So, right, like, no, of course.
Yeah, so there's like a flashback between like basically explaining the beef between him and old Hobbs, and it's 15 months earlier, and old Hob has Raphael in his mouth, and obviously Splinter just just tries to like have him free Raphael, and they end up in like a little fight, and like like Splinter tries to like try his best to defend Raphael, to like like get Raphael back, but then old Hob scratches like his side and his leg, and it causes like he gets the upper hand and like actually like bites old Hob's eye out, which is why it explains why he doesn't
really likes to go for the eye for some reason.
He does, and it explains why he has like the eye patch, which I think is really cool. And then and when that happens, like Raphael like it leaves his mouth, but we don't really see what happens to him. So basically old Hob flees away. The ninjas try to like come after the turtles, and like the mutant like salvage what's left. And so they notice Splinter, and one of the ninjas about to kill him, but Splinter quickly drags the turtles and the three turtles and into a bag and drags them into the sewer, saving their lives. And they all fall.
Something I want to point out is that this ninja decided that his solution to this rat dragging the turtles into the sewer would be to swing his sword instead of trying to grab at the bag.
Exactly, which is like, it's stupid, but they're
safe because of it, I guess.
It wasn't a good strategy.
No, he could have used his brain better, I think.
Hmm. So it continues with, so like they fall down in the sewer, and again they're all soaked and covered in like ooze, and obviously like this tire splinter's out due to his injuries, and like he passes out, and then he wakes up like the next morning, and he's grown, and he can also talk, and he's like, yo, like what's happening? He's like, I can speak.
He looks so weird in his human form without his robe.
Yeah, he does look weird in his like his rat in his like grown rat form, and he's like, I can speak and I can talk. Like what happened to my body? He's just like trying to figure out. I was like, yo, where's the turtles? And then we see here that yeah, like the turtles are also like practically fully grown already.
They grow up so fast, Mikey.
Yeah, in literally a day, in literally like less than 24 hours, like Splinter's already like grown to like the size he usually is, and they're already like grown teenagers. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Demoan? Like, what are you thinking? Like, like because we're so used to like the like them like actually like growing up and like getting larger over time. But what do you think of like this change?
I think for the way they were doing the story, this is the way they needed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think there's a lot of missed opportunities in not having the turtles actually go through their own childhood as like turtle people, like turtle children.
That's true.
I like some of the like flashbacks they have when they're like kid turtle people just starting their training. However, here they're just fully grown, and then they're gonna like it's. I like it. I just miss the children.
Well, we'll find out later. They kind of do like a really smart leeway with it. So yeah, but yeah, they're all fully grown, and it's really cool. So it transitions to Mikey, Donnie, and Leo like sneaking out from the sewer gates. They're jumping on rooftops, basically like trying to like take down, looking for some crime that's afoot, and they have this really interesting conversation where Leo basically is taking this opportunity not just to like fight crime and like fight old Hobbs and find him and take him down, but like to also find Raph. And I find this very interesting that like because Leo obviously he's the good son. He wants like
right.
he's always loyal to Splinter and his decisions. So like if Splinter wants to find Raph, he's also gonna be down to also find Raph. But I think it's very interesting the fact that like Mikey and Donnie don't really want to find Raph. Like they don't think it's that important because
they just don't. They aren't convinced that he's really out there.
Yeah, they even tell Leo that like, dude, he could possibly be dead for all we know. And Leo's obviously just like, don't say that. And it's like, and then we get this. We get into this really cool argument, and basically he's just like, he's like, Splinter thinks Raphael's alive, so he's alive in the story. And then Donnie, being the analytical one, being like, yo, how can we honestly know that for sure? Like, he's been missing for basically like the past like year and a half. Like we don't really know where to find him, even if he's in New York. Like the fact that like but the more we look for Raph, the more things are gonna get worse with old Hob. And then Mikey is being the middleman, being like trying to take both sides. Like, listen, like we can go find Donnie, we can go find Raph, and also we can go find old Hobbs. It'll be a win-win. We just gotta have faith, and like he's just being the optimist, and which I really like because it's really explains. It makes sense for his character. And basically like they stop. Mike gets them to stop arguing. And again, he tells them like, "Yo, this could be a win-win situation." And then like they come to an agreement, and they continue jumping the rooftops, prowling. And so it transitions to Raph and Casey, and they're getting hot dogs. And Casey describing like, "Yo, like these are gonna be the best. This is the best mystery meat in all of New York City." And he's like, "Yeah, it works for me." And so, and then these two criminals walk past, and they say, "Do we lose the cops?" And then they knock all their hot dogs down. They're like, "Oh fuck." First off, these guys are scumbags, and they also just made us drop our hot dogs. Let's get them. So
I mean, listen, they made them drop the hot dogs. I think that's the bigger thing.
That's true. So then they chase these guys into like I think it's like Central Park, which I think is a good nod to like the movie where they go into Central Park. Um, and they're chasing down these goons, and Casey knocks one out with his bat, and Raph yeets a guy, and basically it's like they're saying like, oh, like, you owe us some dinner, and there's someone saying like, oh, like dinner's the least of your worries, and then so then they turn around, and basically it's old Hob and his gang of goons being like, and he's just like, remember me, and that's how issue 3 ends. So thoughts on issue 3?
I really loved issue 3. I thought issue 3 was super fun. We got, of course, more Casey Jones shenanigans with Raphael. One of the best. We also got a lot of the backstory on how like Hobbs came to be. I think it's really fun the direction they're taking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. I think really good. I love how like they take the time in the beginning to have like Casey and and Raph get to know each other a little bit more to like develop that friendship, that iconic friendship that they have. Also, the fact that like Raph doesn't know his name, like he doesn't have any idea who he is. So I think that's also interesting.
No, he just thinks he's random turtle number 1.
Yeah, exactly. He just thinks he's random turtle number 1, and the fact that like he wants he's gonna like, hey, like we can figure this out together, and I like that. I also again I do like the fact that like Donnie and Mikey don't really care about fighting Raph right now. It's just Leo that's the only care because he's a goody two shoes, and I like that a lot. They're like not all, even though like like that's their brother, like not all of the turtles are gonna be on board.
No, like they have their priorities. They're like, we don't listen. I don't think they ever had to be looking for Raphael. I think news of a turtle man spreads pretty fast in New York City.
Yeah.
So I think they probably should just patrol the streets and then kept an eye out for him. But like the brothers were definitely giving up a little too fast, I think.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely true. But yeah. So and again, in this end scene, we're gonna see what's gonna take place here with old Hobbs, and it's basically Casey Jones, Raph, and versus like old Hobbs and his gang. So we're gonna see how that
goes. Hobbs and the crew.
Old Hobbs and the Goon Squad.
Hobbs and the Goon Squad. So anyway, we open up.
Oh yeah, we're
oh gosh, I skipped the cover. I don't know what I'm doing.
Issue 4.
On me.
Cover.
On me. So great cover. Casey Jones, Raphael. I don't know why they have their back to old Hobbs. I know so it's so we can see their faces, but it seems like having your back to old Hobbs just isn't the move right now,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. But I love this cover.
I love it too. It's really good. I don't think it is it Dan. Yeah, I think it's also Dan Duncan who also draws it.
It is indeed Dan Duncan. Mm-hmm. And colors are by Rhonda Pattinson.
Yeah, great color. All the colors. The colors are always great in this book.
No, they always are. But anyway, wonderful cover. We start the issue off. Old Hobbs is in the park surrounding our boys.
Yeah.
And of course, Casey Jones is like, what's up with the giant talking cat? And of course, old Hobbs is now mad that our boy Raphael seems to have forgotten him.
Mm-hmm.
However, this gives our boy Raphael a flashback in which he remembers being in old Hobbs' mouth, then being thrown away, and then crawling into the ooze and slowly transforming into a turtle man.
Yeah, and
it makes him very angry.
He looks pissed, and I love this. Like
it's the perfect Raph.
Yeah, it's literally explains the reason why Raph just has anger issues because he hates old Hob for what he did to him.
Gosh, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
And also understandably, old Hobbs hate. It's a mutual relationship of understandable hate.
Exactly.
But anyway, old Hob is very upset because it doesn't seem like Raph remembers. And he threatens to kill Raph's family because he lost his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, he doesn't care. He's going to beat the memory into or out. He says, this is a good line I think he has. He's going to beat the memory of himself into or out of Raphael, and he doesn't care which. He's not picky. I think that's a fun line.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, old Hob tells everyone, hey, no guns. We're giving them an old-fashioned ass kicking this time. And I don't know why they thought it would go better without guns when they got their ass kicked with guns.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like flawed logic. Anyway, old Hobbs has them attack, and of course, our boys jump into action.
Okay, here's the thing, right? This is a great page. I love this splash page of just like Raph and Casey.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a missed opportunity to say my favorite line in from the first movie and like of Casey Jones' line of all time, where he's just like, like welcome to Pain 101 with your instructor Casey Jones. I love that line so much. They could have said that. They could have said Gungala, which is like his battle cry. You didn't know that? Like his
No, I forgot about that actually.
Freaking battle cry is freaking saying Gungala. Like oh god, but like I would have liked the line from Casey in this scene.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, no. Yeah, I can understand that, but no, the page itself does look beautiful at least.
Yeah, it does look dope.
But anyway, of course, as we've been doing this entire podcast, we're flashing back to 15 months earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Dr. Stockman is very upset with Chet and everyone because Ninja's got in the lab and stole everything. And now he has to go and talk to General Crane to get more samples because everything he had got stolen. And anyway, they're talking, and Chet explains, well, we can't use the mutagen. You'll have to get more. But if we catch Splinter, we don't actually lose all progress on our experiment with Splinter if we can catch him.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he's like, but of course, Stockman points out the obvious. How are you going to catch a rat in New York City? A single rat?
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I guess the newly humanized old Hob comes out of the alley and says, I can help. It just depends on whether you need the rat dead or alive.
Word.
And
also, real quick, I just want to say, like, what are your thoughts, like your thoughts on like the idea that like the ooze or like the mutagen was made by like Stockman's company rather than like how it usually is like with TCRI? Like what's
so. Well, TCR. If you remember, TCRI was the crane.
Yeah.
Crane species. Stockman is working on the ooze, but he got the ooze sample from General Crane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's still technically coming from the Krang. It's just now Stockman's more involved, which I like because it ties him deeper into the backstory of the Turtles.
Yeah.
But like I can also understand how like because this also isn't really Stockman's place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In this comic it obviously is, but like obviously his role normally isn't that big.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that they're giving him a bigger role, to be honest. I've always liked Dr. Stockman.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What do you think of the whole ooze situation?
I mean, obviously, like maybe later on in like in the series they'll explain like where it actually comes from. But for now, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Like it's made from like just Stockman because I'm so used to TCRI to the point where I'm just like it kind of bothers me a little bit, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's pretty much the same way I am.
Yeah.
Like I like it because I like Stockman being more involved, but the ooze itself is just kind of there.
Yeah.
But anyway, we move on, and April O'Neil is talking to the cops, and I don't know what she expected. The cops don't believe her because she's telling crazy stories about ninjas and I don't know, sentient rats.
They're the type of New Yorkers that would believe. We would rather believe that there are alligators in the sewers, which there are, over ninjas in New York.
Ninjas and a rat that can pull a fire alarm.
Exactly.
The second one I feel like has definitely happened in real life.
True.
100% an accident, but definitely happened.
True.
But anyway, they don't believe her. And we flash back. Well, not flashback, but we change perspective. and we watch that Splinter is kind of training these rats.
Yeah.
He talks to them. He tells them, "Hey, this is what's up. I know you guys don't remember a bunch, but just remember, I'm here for you. We have a new life, but I'm gonna give you guys names." He gives them all names: Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and he tells them, "I'm your dad, but we also have to find your fourth brother because he's missing right now."
Yeah. And
that's Raphael.
And I like that. It's interesting that like it because like for like especially like basically like when you talk about like oh like how he's gonna be training them all and the fact that like like now they have to like like stick the shadows and like be unseen like how they always do because it's our way and they're all like and then I think at the end it's Leo he's like our way like it seems the fact that like Splinter remembers something that they all don't for some reason.
Yes,
Which plays into like this twist on their origin, which will happen.
We'll get to that in the last issue.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. What they're doing.
I think it's a fun twist because when we get to it, I'll go over some like other turtle origins and like how it's different. Like I love the turtles. I know the origins. But we'll get to that when we get there. Anyway, after this, we go back to the fight. Casey Jones and Raphael are actually really holding their own. It's not until someone comes up behind Raphael with a crowbar and hits him in the back that things really start to become a struggle. Because Casey gets distracted by that. Casey's knocked out with a brick.
Dude, it takes a brick to the it takes a brick to the dome, bro. It's like,
and honestly, I think this is a really funny scene. Because it's just watching two people make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Casey's concerned about Raph. He gets knocked out because he's distracted. Raph's concerned about Casey. He gets hit in the back of the head with the butt of a gun because he's distracted.
Yeah. It's just a tease for the many head injuries Casey will maintain in the future, which kind of explains why he's a crazy person.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, they're fighting. Old Hob, he beats Raphael to the ground, holds him at gunpoint, and he's ready to kill Raph. And right before he can pull the trigger, boom, shuriken from out of nowhere. And we see that Raphael's brothers have finally appeared.
Word. Dude, this page is so good. Like, he straight up takes 3 shurikens to the arm, bro.
Right?
And again, I like how because they're making a lot like they're reflecting the grittiness of like the old comics, so like there's blood and all that stuff, which I think is really cool.
I like the amount of blood they have because like Splinter's very against the turtles killing.
Yeah,
shown in like the way they fight, but like they're not afraid to draw blood, and I appreciate that the artists will draw the blood if they have it.
Yeah, but this page is all just dope. It's just so good.
Honestly, the next page is even better because the next page is a splash page of the turtles fighting.
Yep.
And they're saying bonsai. Oh gosh, look at that! All of them fight, and Raphael's just there.
He's just like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? Who are?
He's still fighting. He's kicking some dude. He's holding some other guy that he's knocked out. Like he's not like letting these other turtle people face him in the slightest. He's ready to kick ass.
Word.
But anyway, they keep fighting, and Donatello, always praised for being the smart one, sees another walking turtle man, has the audacity to say, "Do you think it's him?"
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't know, Donnie. What do you think it is? Do you think this fourth turtle man is the turtle man you've been looking for?
Exactly.
Like, listen, Donnie's the smart one, but that was really dumb. But anyway, they're talking, and old Hobbs is really trying to fuck up our boy Raphael all throughout this. Of course, the brothers don't like this. However, they just handle the guys in the background because our boy Raphael can handle old Hob by himself.
Yeah.
They get into a brawl. We watch the other turtles take care of the other people. And eventually we watch Raphael beat Old Hobbs in submission, and he knocks him out, and he looks like he's gonna keep going, but Leonardo stops him.
He literally says like, bro, do you hear me? I want you dead. Like he's gonna kill him. Like he was if Leo didn't stop him, he was going to kill him.
Yeah,
And I love how Donnie and them word. And I love how Donnie's just like, but Leo, let him.
Honestly, like Donnie has the right idea here.
Yeah.
Old Hobbs is a menace. But anyway, Leonardo stops him because, daddy's boy, daddy's against killing. And eventually our boy Casey wakes up after they get the introduction of that they're all brothers. And he's like, wow, am I seeing 4 of yous? But anyway, they have that joke. But eventually they bring their long-lost brother home, and Splinter welcomes him with open arms.
Yeah.
Big hug. And he's like, finally, we're a family again. Finally, we're whole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it a lot.
Gosh. I love the reuniting issue. It's always so wholesome. Because I love the little aura they have, like the little light aura around the hug.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
It's very cute.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of this issue overall?
It's good. Like it's like tons of act. I love the way the action's like laid out. Like it's so good.
There's never a dull moment, which is something I appreciate.
Like especially like that page that I put previously where it's like, Raph and Old Hob, and then like at the same time you see Raph and him fighting, and then you see like Mikey and Leo and Donnie like taking out people as well. I think it's the action is very well very well laid out. I think it's really cool. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like it's just like a lot of action, a lot of again like setting up stuff. Again, like explaining like why Raph is the way he is. I think it's so good because before they just say like, oh, he's just the angry one, but like they never really explain why. This is a better reason. Like Raph being separated and then with Old Hobbs and his hatred for Old Hobbs is why he has. And him being on the streets, is the reason like why he has a temper, and it's a fair enough reason.
It gives us a good reason for the way he is, which is something we appreciate.
And you're a Raph fan, so like the fact that you think that's a great, it is like good.
Raphael and Leonardo are my 2 favorite turtles. I always bounce between the 2. I think I've settled in on Raph in recent years, but it's just the explanation they gave him for his anger. But they also gave him like he's naturally just a really good fighter. Like you can tell by the way he fights. Although we'll address something in this little one shot that comes after issue 4, before issue 5, where the one shot catches up his training with the rest of the turtles basically, because even though he's a good brawler, he's not a ninja quite yet. So it shows that Raph is a naturally good. Right now he's just brawling. He's not using any ninja techniques. He's just fist swinging. You can even see that because he literally bites Old Hob at one point. Anyway, I really like the way that they showed Raphael.
Gotcha. It's really good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this issue is dope. I meant more Casey and Raph, more origin stuff, great action. And the way that Old Hobbs just shows up in front of Baxter Stockman and it's just what's up? It's just which is the reveal Baxter Stockman hired Old Hobbs to take him out, to take the 5 Turtles, which I think is it's a fair enough twist. Yeah, and April, the fact that they don't believe her, which is fair enough because ninjas in New York, that's crazy. Yeah, it's just good stuff. This is so good.
It's not even just ninjas in New York; it's turtle ninjas in New York.
Well, no.
I guess at that point she was just regular ninjas.
Yeah, she doesn't know yet. She doesn't know that.
She doesn't know about the turtles, but she does know about the sentient rat, which she did bring up, and I don't think they believed her.
Gotcha. Yeah, but this issue is pretty good. Demoan, you want to talk about what's that one shot called again?
Okay, so there's a small 7-page one shot that takes place after issue 4, but before issue 5. I don't know where it is in the paperback trades, but like in the hardcover trade, it's just right in the middle.
Yeah, do you know what it's called?
7 pages. It's called A Lot to Learn.
Okay.
It's art by Kevin Eastman and Pete Lyro, Pete Lyro, basically. And basically, what the story is Raphael is catching up on his ninja training, but he's far behind, so he's struggling. He's just kind of getting his ass kicked, and this kind of adds to his temper. Like, he's angry. He doesn't like losing. The other thing is that they all have weapons, and he doesn't yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he has a lot of problems. So he storms off, and he has this big talk with Casey. About, and he like has a monologue about like how everything's happening and like how this family doesn't feel like family, but like it feels like family. Like, he just feels a little ostracized, but he feels real close to Casey.
Yeah.
But he also realizes that these people really do care and love for him.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, like, in one of the panels, as he's walking through the wall, we actually do see graffiti for like the Foot Clan on the wall.
Dope.
And so he eventually does go home, and Master Splinter comes up to him, and he's like, "Hey, son, I understand everything's struggling. I know you're mad at stuff." And Raph's like, "Hey, I know I'm mad at stuff, but like I want to be better. It's just I'm really angry." And Splinter goes on and is like, "Hey, you'll get better as you train. Like, it's fine. Like, you're gonna get better." And he's like, "I know what you meant. In my childhood, I was filled with rage, so like I understand like being angry." And it's just like he basically tells his son it's a process, and just to trust the process, and as long as we're together, everything's gonna be okay. And like that's basically what the issue is. It's just making Raphael feel a little bit more secure with his new turtle family.
Yeah, I mean, which makes sense because like in the next issue, like they don't like I'm happy you mentioned that because the next issue they just like they already like accept him and he's already like used to the family already, and like I wanted to see more of that because I didn't read this for our audience who doesn't know. I didn't read. I didn't know this was a thing because Demoan has the full collection. But like like the fact that like like he I feel like like you just found out like you have like 3 other brothers. You shouldn't like naturally just be like, oh, I love you guys and like have a relationship already. Like he feels like he should be like the odd man out of all of them because they all grown up.
Like, I guess if you didn't read A Lot to Learn, the backstory and the reason for their backstory they give in issue 5 could be a substitute for why they accept each other so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I think A Lot to Learn really adds to, like, it really adds to it. Like, it shows that like, it wasn't immediate. Raphael still struggled.
Okay. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but so you wanna get right into issue 5, the last issue we're talking about?
Yeah.
All right, so issue 5, and I love this cover. I love this cover, and I love the variant cover. I didn't put both up here, but like this issue is again, it's written by Waltz and Eastman, drawn by Duncan, but it's also drawn by Mateus Santalauco, who so basically Dan Duncan is drawing the present day stuff while Mateus draws the stuff in the past. And the variant cover, so this cover is drawn by Mateus, but the variant cover has the same like background layout, like same like pose of Splinter, but it's facing the opposite direction. It's flipped and it's drawn by Duncan. Because this is gonna play a lot of like back and forth stuff. So I think it's a dope cover. Both covers are dope in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love both of them.
Yeah, and obviously we get to see Splinter, the Turtles, and we see like it looks like it's like some New York. We see some Japan, and we see this mysterious old looking ninja that we're gonna be introduced to.
That's right.
But so just to get right into it, this issue begins with again Splinter monologuing, and basically he's out looking for stuff. Like he's out foraging, and at the same time he is taking he's because there's these old Hobbs goons are out looking for them, so he's being a ninja and taking them all out one by one, and he's just saying that like he's saying like something like what he's doing right now seems like it seemed very familiar, and it seems like like his tale is similar to another tale that's already been told. And we get things like I have both the first 2 pages up because, as you can see, Splinter's left is Splinter in the present day, and then this same scene is flipped. The composition wise, all the panels are flipped, and it is showing this flashback of feudal Japan. And basically, this whole comic is telling the story of Hamato Yoshi, which again, if you're a turtle fan, you know
Change every time.
it does change every time, like with the whole story of Hamato Yoshi. But this is by far the most unique interpretation of Hamato Yoshi I've ever seen.
Because there's a lot of different ones. I appreciate that Hamato Yoshi started as a rat in this. Well, I appreciate. I don't know how to describe this because he was a man and then he was a rat.
Yeah.
But then he was a man rat.
Yeah, I prefer the origin with like the connect. Well, we can talk about it later if you want, but like yeah, there's many versions of Hamato Yoshi that's been.
I think now would probably be the best time for it because I feel like.
Oh, for real?
I feel like there's not going to be a better time to talk about Hamato Yoshi origins, or I guess there is a better time in a couple pages. We'll get to it then.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But yeah, so basically like he's telling the story of Hamato Yoshi. And you see Hamato Yoshi is basically doing the same thing. He's been foraging for some reason, and yeah, it's great. It's great. This is great. These 2 pages are just great. They're like my favorite pages in the whole book. But yeah, so it transitions back to again, like
I think
he's yeah, he said he's foraging for. Oh yeah, Splinter said that he's foraging for like how he's foraging to get something for his 4 sons. And then that will be revealed later on. But yeah, so it cuts back to Leo, Donnie, Raph, and Mikey. And Raph is essentially like that he's training. He's and he actually takes all of them out. Like he takes all 3 of his brothers out. Everything is very interesting. And they basically mentioned to Raph, like, dude, like you've been with us for like about a month, and like you've improved, you've drastically improved your fighting skills in a very fast rate. And I like how like Raph is being like, yeah, like I don't know why, but like I feel like that like even though I've been training with you guys for a short time, it feels like I'm like reteaching myself skills I already know.
Yeah.
And it basically and basically like that's what Leo, I think it's like it's either Donnie or Leo or Mikey. But like he basically tells Raph like, yeah, like it was kind of the same for us. It just took a little bit longer for us, but we don't know why it's a little bit faster for you. But yeah, and then they also like he also be like, yo, like the fact that he got a headband, that's awesome, and I feel like a part of the family. But like I would be even dope if I got some of those cool weapons that like get a weapon of my own. And he basically is like, yeah, like Mikey's like, yeah, about that. Splinter probably doesn't think you're ready to receive weapons right now. It's kind of the same for us. We train, and then once we got our headbands, and then once we thought we were ready, after we were experiencing hand-to-hand combat, then we got our weapons, and and then I think Don's like, speaking of father, is like, yo, like he's like it's he gave us our like what's Master Splinter doing right now. And then transition again, and then again, Master Splinter's again narrating about how the enemies like in these dark they're among us, they're in these dark alleys, and you see him just like using like his environment to like distract and sneak past them, which I think is really cool. And again, yeah, he's continuing with like at the same time like the story that I'm telling will end in a different way, and then then my story will end in this in this issue. So it transitions again. His name is the story of this man's name was Hamato Yoshi. He lived in feudal Japan, and he was off home. He was homeward bound. Carrying gifts for his sons, and then these ninjas are after him, and he's basically like trying to evade them as much as possible. And one of them gets the jump on him, and so Hamato Yoshi literally like just sort of decapitates him, and it's so sick. Yeah, and then they basically like, yeah, like these hunters serve Yoshi's sworn enemy, which is again known as Oroku Saki, which again
another true name.
Yeah, if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, you know who Oroku Saki is. And he and Oroku Saki is the leader of the clan known as the Foot. Again, you don't know who this is. So, but he said it hasn't always been that way. And Splinter continues to say like, yeah, like Yoshi and Saki were a part of the same clan. They were clan brothers. Like Yoshi was also a part of the Foot, and there was a time where Saki became the leader and had a very erratic and destructive approach where they're having this meeting where they're talking about about this one of their missions would have to assassinate some diplomatic leader, and Oroku Saki is just we should take out him and the entire village because it's going to send a freaking message. And then Yoshi's
so excessive.
It's so excessive. And then you just see Yoshi being but dude, where our mission is supposed to assassinate this government leader, isn't that enough? Isn't taking out the castle lord is our mission? We shouldn't kill innocent lives just to make a point. And they have a dispute. And he's I don't want to. He's I don't listen, it's either do what I say or just get out of the way. And Yoshi does that. He basically just listen, I don't want to advocate to slaughter innocent people. So you know what? You shame yourself and you defile the Foot Clan. So he just basically leaves, and then Saki basically he's he considers that an act of treason, and basically he's just you're my enemy now. And we get this page of that argument. And it transitions to a woman by the name of Tang Shen, who is also in Ninja Turtles canon as well.
Yes. So I guess this is the place where I want to interject with some more of Hamato Yoshi's backstory.
Yeah, sure.
Fun fact about this woman is that Oroku Saki also at one point was romantically involved. They were romantic rivals for this woman.
Exactly, which they don't discuss here. It's not.
They don't discuss that yet. It does come up later, but they don't discuss it yet. And I'm pretty sure that was definitely a plot point in several of the Ninja Turtles. I think it was.
It was in the movie. It was in the first movie for sure.
It was in the first movie for sure. I think it might have been in the 2012 series as well.
It might have, yeah.
Because I think it was because the 2012 series was the one where Karai was Splinter's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Or was it this?
No, it was Karai was Splinter's daughter, but yeah. So she's an important character in terms of Hamato Yoshi, and yeah. So then basically it transitions to her at their home, and she is watching her three sons fall asleep, and obviously we don't know their names, but they're interestingly wearing corresponding colors. One's wearing purple, one's wearing orange, one's wearing red, one's wearing blue, and she's watching them sleep, and she's saying sleep now, beautiful boys. And then Saki, important thing that Splinter says, Saki also declared not only in order to kill Yoshi, but to kill Yoshi's entire family as well. So then these ninjas charge in, as we see here, and straight up just kill Tang Shen, and she's dying. And now they have to kill the children. And then Yoshi shows up, and what have you done? Literally brutally wrecks these Foot Clan ninjas, and then was immediately tending to his wife. I think this scene is very, very sweet, and she's basically just my love, I know that revenge is the first thing on your mind right now, and but the thing is don't think of yourself, think of our sons. Basically he's but Shen, listen, he has to pay for what he did. I understand that, but I'm dying. My last wish is for you just to keep our son safe at all costs, and then she's just do it for me. I love you. And then she dies, and then he cries, and then he immediately is listen, he takes his four sons, is listen, we gotta get out of here. And it's we gotta get out of here. It's not safe for us. I want to get revenge for mom's death, but her final wish was to keep you guys, make sure you guys escape to safety. and she's like, listen, this will not, like, we won't do this today, we won't enact revenge today, but like I swear, like it's like, listen, like we'll save another day for Saki, and then they all escape. And yeah, here's that page. They're all adorable. Like it's
They
just
really are. They're like some of the cutest. I, however, do think that Raphael's haircut is the dumbest thing.
I mean, that's a traditional Japanese haircut.
I know it's traditional, but it doesn't look good. Is the thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so then they all basically escape, and also Mateus' artist is with these feudal Japan sequences are really good. I love his art a lot.
I especially love the way he draws Hamato Yoshi.
Oh, for sure.
I think Hamato Yoshi looks. I think Hamato Yoshi is the best character he draws in this style.
Yeah.
I honestly love it.
Yeah, for sure. So then it transitions to Casey Jones, and he is talking with his coach. I believe his name is Coach Bowman, and they're basically at the New York Tech hockey arena, and he's sitting down just chilling, and he has a conversation with Coach Bowman where he's like, listen, man, like, dude, you were doing so well for the past 3 semesters, and now like you've been in academic probation for a while now, like for almost an entire year and an entire semester. And he's like, listen, man, I don't know what's going on, but you got to put your grades up, because if you don't, you'll basically flunk out of school and I have to kick you off the team. And he's basically, listen, like, I understand, but he understand, but like he, again, reiterating what he said to Wrath, like the books, like he's not really book smart, so like he's having trouble like understanding like the classes, which is understandable.
No, it's college level, and he's out fighting crime at night. He's
Exactly. Like he's not studying because he's fighting. He's fighting crime, and he's like, listen, like here's the thing, right? Like you should talk to you should maybe listen, like do whatever you need to do, get a tutor that can help you. Probably get your grades up, because if you have the rest of the year to do this. And he's like, yeah, I understand. Like, listen, like talk to your parents about what you can do to like get yourself like in the right direction. And he walks away. He says, yeah, coach will try. And he's like, yeah,
I feel like the coach should be more intimate with his parent situation by now.
I don't think he knows. Like, yeah.
No, but like as a coach, you should definitely know when your one of your players' parents is dead.
Yeah.
Like that's something you should know. You should find that out in the recruiting process. That there's a lot of places to know when one of the parents is dead.
Yeah.
Knowing the relationship with the dad is a little more tricky, but I don't know. I still think he could have. I think he could have not suggested to go to his parents first.
Yeah, that also did bother me. Like I feel like he's his coach. Like his coach, he should have at least his coach should know, or at least like he should tell his coach like this situation with his dad and like his mom like not being here, and his dad being like a drunk that beats him, because like they could have. I feel like they could have worked something out like with his academic.
No, yeah, absolutely,
100%, because that's completely unfair. If
it's no one should be expected to do school under that kind of stress.
Exactly.
But like I think the issue with that though is that he's not telling the coach, because he's not telling anyone, because he doesn't want to bad even though he deserves it.
Yeah, because I don't think he's using his scholarship, the money that they give him for his scholarship, to pay his rent and for his food. Like, that is a case where, like, again, like the school needs to get involved to, like, make sure it doesn't drop out.
Yes. So. And also, typically college teams have like a bunch of programs for athletes to get their grades up.
Exactly.
Like in most colleges, you have to really try to fail out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but just a quick thought. But then it transitions to April, and I forget what her friend name is, but it doesn't really matter. Her friend trying to get her to hurry because they have a carpool and they're trying to get home for the holidays because it's Christmas. Also for audience, this issue is kind of like a Christmas special in a way too. Like it's Christmas and they need to go see their families, and she's like, but then we see April is putting up a flyer for tutoring, and she says she's an honor student offering tutoring for any subject in exchange for self-defense lessons, which is perfect because Casey obviously can fight. And literally, like, so she leaves with her friend, and then and he's talking about he's like we gotta go home for Christmas. He's like, yeah, I hope so. And she's like, I just hope someone answers the ad. And then she says, honey, and then her friend's like, honey, all I know is it's way too cold to worry about that right now. And it's funny because the person who she opens the door to that's going to probably notice her ad is Casey Jones. And I think it's great.
Boy, you can tell by the mask.
You can tell by the mask. and it's fun, very interesting. Like if they're unknowingly cross paths, they're unknowingly crossing paths with each other, and at the end of the day, like it's gonna build their relationship because obviously like they're a couple,
Mhm.
in the comics and in the shows and all that stuff. So I like that. So then it transitions again to Splinter, and he is talking about how how the cold is distracting his enemies or just giving him the upper hand, and like he's again rearing back to Hamada Yoshi's story, and that like how how he's made it home, and he says like home to my four sons, and then it transitions back to him telling the story of Hamada Yoshi to Yoshi again, and it's again Hamada Yoshi also going home to his four sons, and they're all grown. They're like not all grown up. I think they're teenagers. Yeah, they're all grown up. They're all teenagers because last time we
Well,
saw.
yeah, that's why the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mikey, because they were teenagers when they got killed.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, so then they're all training, and we see like Hamada Yoshi's sons again, using their respective weapons, and obviously like yeah, the one has swords, one has a staff, one has nunchucks in size, and again they're just they're having fun, like, being a family, and I think it's really sweet, and where we see Saki ends up finding them, and
I also want to say I love this Saki armor.
it's very again it's because it's feudal Japan, so like it's a very like feudal Japan looking style of for our audience, the shredder. Yeah, I dig it a lot actually. It's very dope. But yeah, he's Saki, or hence the Shredder, has arrived with his army of foot soldiers, and they're all shocked, and then it transitions to again Saki, and then enacting his final sentence, and he has all of Yoshi's sons lined up in a row, and basically like he's basically saying like, oh, like it was about time this would happen, like you have to pay for your betrayal. And I love how Splinter basically says like in this moment Saki basically prayed to like he prayed to anyone that would listen, so like Buddha, anyone, like any of the powers of the universe, and he prayed for justice, and the fact that like he prayed that like he would be reunited with his sons one day, and this is very important, audience, so very important. And like the fact that like he and that like he would once again like be able to face Saki warrior to warrior, and he basically like and he basically like, Saki gives him a sentence like you're being charged with your treachery, and he listens says like my sons forgive me, and then he basically like snaps his fingers and all of their sons, and then he kills all four of Yoshi's sons. Brutally, like he basically beheaded his sons brutally, and it's awful because like I don't have the page up, but like you literally see like the youngest one like in the orange just cry, and it's just like because it's just so
he doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to get decapitated.
Exactly. So then they all die, and basically in basic Socks like now it's your turn to die, like traitor. And then Lily's like, listen, like Saki, like for 11 seasons, so like in 11 years, I've basically like protected my sons and kept them away from you, and like I've kept my vow to Tang Shen, and like now they're dead, so now I don't have to follow my promise anymore, because I basically failed my wife, and just so just like as far as like I make up like a solemn promise, like that when we meet again, I will destroy you. And then he basically like, no, we're not going to see each other again. And then he kills Saki, and then Saki kills Yoshi himself, and they all die. So then it transitions again, and then I love how Splinter again narrates and says like like he's like, and thus Hamada Yoshi and his sons were no more, yet their tale does not end. It has now become one of new hope. So then he comes back home with his gifts, just like Yoshi came back home with his gifts, and basically is saying like to him like how proud of a father he is, the fact that like they're all together, and even though and it's very important. He's like, even though now that Raphael's returned of us, and like the thing is like it's time for you to all to display your true selves, and and because all of you possess unique qualities, unique skills, and that should never be forgotten. But also like please accept my gifts because I'm extremely proud of you. So, and I think it's very interesting the fact that like they were all wearing red because they had to basically it was because they were wearing red to mourn their brother because they lost their brother, and red was Raphael's favorite color.
Yeah, it was a constant reminder of their search.
Exactly. So now they're all together again. Now they can all get their colors. So then Mikey gets his red, red gets his orange, Donnie gets his purple bandana, and Leo gets his blue, and they all say thank you. And now they're excited, and Raphael, like, even though like you're already wearing your color, I know you don't really remember, but you will. And he says that to Private, like, you don't really remember your true self, but you will over time. And he basically gives him he wants to give him a special gifts, and he gives him, as I say in the second page, his weapons. He gets his size, and and he's like, remember, like, we walk the path of we only use violence when it's necessary, and again, because Raph has this temper, like, that's going to be an issue for him going forward, obviously. And he's like, I know, I understand, and but it's like promise you that you won't, like, only use violence when it's absolutely necessary. It's like, I promise. And then they all congratulate him, and and basically, like, Leo goes up to Splinter, says thank you, and listens, like, it's like that now my sons were taken from me, and like now they are returned to be reunited once again. And okay, so we're just gonna get it out of the way. So then, twist with their origin, obviously, if you haven't connected the dots already for audience. Splinter, Michelangelo, Leo, Donnie, and Raph are the reincarnated versions of Hamato Yoshi and his four sons. That is the new thing with their origin. Because the thing is, like, Splinter remembers everything. He remembers his past life, all that stuff. It's probably because of the whole psychotropic drug experiment, because he has enhanced intelligence. So, right. But obviously, like, but also, like, the mutagen, now that, like, now they can, like, walk and talk, they will probably remember their past lives over time. And thing is, like, it's also implied that, like, Leo knows a lot more than the rest of them, because he is very loyal. That's kind of explain the reason why he's so loyal to Splinter, because he actually remembers more of his past life than the rest of them do.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is something. And another thing is like later on, like, they'll just get like random things that would have been from their past. Like, I want to say it's Mikey could read an ancient text.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Mikey, and he could read an ancient text, but like clearly he would have had no one teaching him that language.
Yeah. So, and it's dope. Like, it's the reason why when we said earlier, when I said earlier that, like, they basically, like, when they're during training, that they said that they were like relearning like skills they already knew, is because like they're the reincarnated. They already knew those skills technically. So yeah. Demoan, what are your thoughts on, like, now, like, and it's like the fact that, like, when he says, like, like, now that my family like has returned, like, it has a double meaning, like, that he lost them he lost them back in feudal Japan when they got them all killed, and he lost them, and now, like, his family has returned, now with reincarnated as a rat and four turtles. Like, what are your thoughts on this new origin?
I like the reincarnation origin, because and this is me knowing just more than this volume. In the future, like, they do stuff where it's like, hey, in the past something happened, and now it has consequences on the future. Like, it's something that, like, involves Yoshi or like the kids or something, or like a Rokosaki in the past, and they'll like delve into that, and then they'll see how it affects the future. Exactly. And I really like that there's a history there that is open to be explored and gives like new story avenues. I really like it because I think it's more in depth than some of the other origin stories, because I think the 2003 one was the one where it was just a kid bought four turtles, and TCRI tubes broke and the turtles fell in the ooze. And then was Splinter in that one? Was Splinter just a rat?
Yeah, that was one where Splinter was just a rat and was a pet to Hamato Yoshi, because he lived in the present day and not in the past, and followed his movements in that's how we knew martial arts, because he was literally copying the
Yeah.
movements of Yoshi, which is also the origin of the movie as well with Splinter. So yeah, I like that one better than just. I like that one better than just like just Yoshi turning into a rat.
Yeah, that's no, because so I think I forget which series it was, but the one where Yoshi was a human that turned into a rat.
It was both the 80s cartoon, and it was the comic, the original comic. It was the 80s cartoon, and it was the 2012 one.
Okay, the 2012 one seemed familiar. Okay,
yeah, because as we said, like Karai, who was another Ninja Turtles character, was Yoshi's body. Yeah,
no, I said that. I should have remembered that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the reincarnation. It gives a lot more history, and I also like when all of them start out as animals and turn into human hybrids, rather than Yoshi's a human that turns into a rat hybrid.
Yeah, that's true.
I just think it's a more interesting dynamic because I don't know, rat human to rat just feels like, because there's this large span of time where that means Yoshi's just in hiding, hanging with rats in the sewer, and then he finds 4 turtles covered in ooze. And I don't know about you, but as a person, if I see 4 turtles in the sewer covered in ooze, my first instinct probably isn't to, probably try to help them. It's probably
exactly
help them, but like, I'm definitely not like, I'm coming prepared,
Exactly.
Like, I have prongs, I have a bin, and I'm taking them right to the vet afterwards.
That's true. But yeah, just so we'll talk about it more when we're done. But let's just finish it off.
Only a page and a half.
Yeah. So so then Splinter says we're reunited, and that's the greatest gift of all. And when we see Casey after leaving the hockey rink is at his mom's grave saying I miss you. And I love that because he's saying family's the greatest thing of all, but Casey's basically alone at this point. And then it contrasts with April, who's seeing her mom for Christmas. Which is it sucks because Casey's just, even though they're gonna have a grow a love interest, but eventually Casey won't be alone because he's gonna have April in his life, which I think is great. And then and it's just that's the greatest gift of all, having family. And then he's just father, and this is when Donatello asks Splinter yo, father, how did you know that Splinter Raph's favorite color was red? And he's listen, that's an excellent question, and I'm sure you'll have many more for me. But but for now, let's just share what you he's gonna basically explain the story of Yamato Yoshi, of their past life to them, and that's how the issue ends, and they have a little Christmas tree.
Although I will give a little spoiler. Donatello, ever the Killjoy, is very hesitant to believe the Hamata Yoshi reincarnation story
because he's the analytical one.
He doesn't believe in that hoo-ha, even though it's objectively right in this case.
Yeah. To quote Nacho Libre, he doesn't believe in God; he believes in science. So, yeah, but So final thoughts on this on issue 5.
I really enjoyed issue 5. I love origin stories. I love them. Turtle origin, turtles are one of my favorites because they always tweak it every time, and so I like to see how they tweak it.
For sure.
And I actually really like the way they tweak this origin story because I like the layer. Like I told you, I like the layer of having a past that they can explore.
Exactly. For me, with the origin, I honestly think this is my favorite origin of the Turtles. I like this more than the other ones because
because it feels like it's the most explored, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the most explored. And it's the most unique because they're reincarnated versions of their past lives in feudal Japan, which kind of is a leeway we said before why because they literally grew from small turtles to teenagers in a year and a half, and so it gives a kind of a cheat code of why they know all their skills.
I'm sorry, you go. I
said it gives a cheat code of why they know all their skills in that short amount of time.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I think it's that Yoshi also, he didn't grow to a teenager even. In the same time, he grew to an old man rat.
Yeah.
So it's very clear that their, I guess, souls remember their body's age.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, which is actually, it's a good way to explain it. And it's just like, and it kind of shows how like a prayer to like it's like a prayer to enact revenge is like pretty legitimate because it literally got reincarnated. Like they got reincarnated like centuries later. So
Yeah, like in all the way across the world too.
we're like in New York.
That's disorienting.
Yeah, but I think the origin is dope. Again,
I love it.
this is my favorite issue of the whole five of the first volume of what we read so far. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I
I
would give it to this one. Or honestly, I really liked the first one where they did all the setup.
exactly. Yeah, but this issue is really good. Again, I love the whole contrast with Mateo and Dan's art. I think it's so good. With the whole past and present. I would assume that like Demoan, does Mateo come back and do like any more flashback stuff or no?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't pay attention to that as I
Fair
was
enough.
reading.
Fair enough.
Something I had to go back and look at.
Fair enough.
Well, let me say this. I didn't pay attention enough for it to stick in my head and remember.
Yeah, but yeah, but this is great. It's a great issue. But like, the thing is, like, obviously, like we saw Shredder in Feudal Japan, so like that's what and like I don't want like you to spoil it obviously, but like it leaves the question like because Shredder is one of the like Turtles' main like villains like ever. So like, how the fuck does Shredder happen? Like, I honestly don't know.
There's an explanation, and when we do a second episode for this,
if we ever do one, yeah.
We're gonna do one. Don't worry.
But yeah, so far the issue 5 is really good, and I love it a lot. I love it a lot. But so yeah, actually, before we do our final thoughts, I wanted to know, like, Jamon, do you know about the cartoon, like the new like Seth Rogen's like animated movie, like reboot for the Turtles?
I actually do not.
Really? Okay.
I don't think I heard about the last cartoon I heard about was the one where they're all 4 different turtles and like Raph's more their leader.
Okay, I hate that one.
Yeah, I don't like how they messed with the weapons. I don't. It's very small, but it bothers me.
Yeah, like what was like the Rise of the Ninja Turtles, something like that.
Yeah, Raph uses Tonfa instead of Sai. I think Leo only has one sword. I don't know what Mikey has. I think he still has nunchucks.
Yeah, so we will so I'll share my screen for like the article here. But yeah, Seth Rogen is planning on getting a reboot for the Teenage Ninja Turtles. I think it's gonna be animated, I believe. And it's set a release date for 2023.
Oh, so is it a reboot of the 2013 series or 2012 series or whatever?
No, it's like a movie. It's like a separate movie, not a show.
Okay.
Yeah, so like
it's a movie for the series. I see.
Yeah, it's a new movie that's rebooting. It's sort of like a reboot because remember the Michael Bay produced movies happened and they weren't really that good. So like, it's gonna. He set it for August 11, 2023, and it's under his Point Grey company. And remember, he posted this teaser way back of not way back, but recently. Like a month or two ago, of like him teasing like his version of the Turtles. I think I believe it said that like it's gonna have like a good balance of like comedy because obviously like it's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg obviously who are known for producing like making great comedies.
Right.
But also it's gonna be it's gonna have a mix of like the movie like the 90s movie as well as like the comic, the greenness of the comic. So so that's happening. So I'm excited for that to happen.
I'm always excited for more Ninja Turtles content, so you'll never see me upset.
Exactly. So so final thoughts on Volume 1 and Issue 5. So any final thoughts?
I really enjoyed this. Ninja Turtles is something that's very close to my heart. So whenever I read, I'm sorry, something's falling off of my desk. I'm sorry. Ninja Turtles is something that's very close to my heart. So whenever I read anything Ninja Turtles media-wise, I had to be on the lookout. It's like, because like there are some directions that I just don't like that the Ninja Turtles went or don't like that they go. And like So it's always like up in the air. But like I was so happy to find out that I absolutely love the IDW comics.
Gotcha, for sure. For me, this is well, I've watched like Comic Pop do this, so like I knew like most of the story or like the first 5 issues already. So like, but like actually reading it was a different experience. I loved it. It's very because you can clearly see like they took aspects of like the original Peter and Laird comic, Eastman and Laird comic, the movies, what they just took what worked with the Eastman and Laird comic, the movies, all the animated properties, and whatnot, and just like took away all the bad stuff and just like they took aspects of that and also did their own thing, which worked because I think the reincarnation thing is like I think it's my favorite origin of the Ninja Turtles.
No, I understand. Yeah, it's a great origin. I understand it.
Yeah, and they also like and I hope that like Seth Rogen's Evan Goldberg's movie actually like uses that because I think it's such a good origin. But yeah, again, it's a lot of seasoning, a lot of cooking, setting up, a lot of like now that we've established like April, Casey, what their characters are gonna like going forward, like like teasing their relationship a little bit.
We also have a little Stockman and even General Krang.
Well, we mentioned General Krang, but we didn't see him yet. But
I thought we got a silhouette of him.
Maybe a silhouette, yeah. I might have missed that, but yeah, we got a silhouette of that. The Foot Clan as well. Seeing that, like they're setting up a lot of like stuff that we're familiar with, but also with old Hob. And I'm hoping maybe some new characters introduced. I would assume
there are actually if we had kept reading and we had read the Raphael one shot, we would have actually been introduced to a new character named Alopex. She's a winter fox, and she's part of the Foot Clan.
Interesting. Okay.
She's actually a really cool character, and she's like a wonderful fighter as a character.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, but I'm gonna probably continue reading after this, just because like I'm curious to see like how the Shredder thing works. Cause I don't know anything past the first 5 issues, so like,
I think I've read up to the 3rd hardcover.
Okay, but yeah, I know like it's still going on right now. I think it's like an issue like is that issue like 118? It's like almost at like invincible number issues. Yeah, 118. I know they have the female turtle Jenica.
Yeah, they're far because the hardcovers volume 8 only goes up to issue 65. So I'm way behind apparently, but no, I can't wait to get to that new turtle.
Yeah, I've heard good. I've heard mostly bad things. like I hear like most of the stuff from like when she's introduced onward, especially like the stuff now because like it's Tom Waltz is not on the book. It's Sophia Campbell, who was one of the artists on the book, but then became one of the artists and writer along with Eastman, is doing it, and it's just like it's not as good because it focuses a lot more on Jenica and like less of the main 4.
That makes sense. You read the Ninja Turtles for the Ninja Turtles, not necessarily the offshoot characters.
Yeah. I'm not saying that like having a female turtle isn't a bad thing.
No, I get what you're because it's
even though it was a bad taste in my mouth because it makes me think of freaking Venus from the Next Mutation show, which is awful.
No, but I get what you're saying though. Ninja Turtles is a very old property.
Yeah,
making any kind of significant change, especially to the main character cast, is a ballsy move, and you have to be pretty sure it's going to work out to do it.
Exactly, for sure. But yeah, people. But like, yeah, it's great. I really love this volume. I'm excited to see more. If we do another episode, if we get 5 likes, we will do another episode.
Mikey, I'll do another episode if we get 1 like.
I mean, 1 between 1 or 5 like. I'll say 5.
Okay, I can do 5.
Demoan, we're probably gonna do another one, so it's fine. But
we'll do with 5.
If y'all want more, we will do more TMNT. But yeah, but that's it for me. I loved it. Oh wait, Demoan, what is your final? You have any like?
Absolutely loved it.
You want like a final verdict that you wanna? Out of okay, you want to do your scale? Or you want to do it out of like
standard scale, of course.
Standard scale, yeah. So final
standards. If I had to rate this on the standard scale,
yeah,
I'd probably give it Honestly, the first 5 issues, I think I would give it like a 6.5 out of 7.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 out of 7. I really liked it. There's not much I would change. The only thing is like it has the first few issues problem that a lot of comics have. There are parts where it's just super wordy, and there's not a lot of those parts, but like when they're there, they're very wordy.
Yeah, word.
But like it's set up for a comic, so like I can look past it.
Exactly. I would also give it like, just because I like the new origin, I think like a 6 out of like a 6.5 as well. Like the new origin really does it for me, as well as like I got a lot more Casey, and Casey's like my favorite character in the Turtles universe besides the Turtles. Yeah, and and most like one thing I had a problem with, especially like because when they're all wearing red, it's difficult to like know who's talking, especially when they're all in one panel, because like the shade. I like try their best with the shade, but I can't remember different shades of green with which character, Yeah,
so, it really. Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, but overall, like great writing, because again, it's Kevin Eastman who is a co-creator. I'm surprised I'm surprised like why they didn't get Peter Laird to get on as well. Maybe like I wonder how the book would feel if like they got Peter and Eastman, like Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman together.
It would actually be really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing them in a documentary for the Toys That Made Us, with the Ninja Turtles toys, and they actually like meet up at the end of the documentary for like after like years. So I think it's interesting. But yeah, like it's great writing, great a lot of great creative changes that work, and the art is but again it's creative changes for new readers, but then again appeases old time fans like us who love the Turtles and know a lot about the Turtles. And great art, like Duncan, Dan Duncan is great. Mateus is also with his flashbacks and stuff like that on issue 5 is also really good. So I also give it a 6.5 out of 7 as well. But yeah, man, I guess that's it. So yeah, if you want more, leave some likes. Give us some likes, and we'll definitely do the second volume.
Yes, we will.
So yeah, there's that. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave them a comment again, like favorite.
Like, seriously, guys, like this time. I want to make more of this.
For sure. Like again, leave in the comments like favorite turtle, favorite TV show, favorite movie, favorite video game. You want to know, all right? Because we wanted this turtle discussion to keep going, and we'll go buy this trade. I'll probably put the link to the IST link to buy it, because this is really good. I might buy it at some point as well, the collection. So there's that. And yeah, people, get home safe. All right. Eat some pizza.